go. Did you hear that? It just ran. Prized off the cover, the sprocket cover. There's a little gap. Just stick a screwdriver in there. And then there's now a castellated nut and a split pin. These are the nuts obviously for fitting in the new sprocket. The sprocket, it's not completely, you know, it's all right. It's not brilliant. It's not terrible. So I'm just going to leave it for now. Even the chain doesn't, I mean, all right, needs a clean, but you know, I'm not restoring the bike, what can I say? So anyway, I'm going to take this out, I'm going to undo this nut, and I'm going to pull the, I think I will pull the hub off, because this, I've loosened off the nuts and bolts here. So these two nuts and bolts here, you loosen those off, and then supposedly you should be able to pull this lever, and then you adjust the chain backwards and forwards, the chain tension, but it's not working. So I think it's just best to pull all this off, take this off, give all this a good clean. I'll check the brake shoes quickly. I'll probably just clean them up, because in fact the brake actually is very good. Really good brake. And then I'll just clean all this up as well. So it's all filthy with mud around here, around the brake rod and everything. Then just while I'm here, inside here, this is the sort of, well, it's not really a suspension unit. So this is a single-sided swinging arm. I mean, it's pretty far ahead in its day, you know. If you think of the Ducati 916 was a bike that everybody thought about, with a single-sided swinging arm. But this was already out there back in the late 40s, early 50s. So single-sided swinging arm. This is the brake rod. The exhaust, also just clean it up a bit. It's in really good condition, apart from the fact it's rusty, but there's no holes in it. I might just put a bit of black paint on it. But basically the suspension system is there. And it's just some kind of rubber, well, it's brake friction material. And you adjust it here. That's the lever to adjust it. That adjusts the, what do you call those things? I can't remember, but there's friction material in there. They're kind of damper. And then the actual swing arm actually sort of pivots, and you can adjust it there. So I think it's a clever system. Anyway, I'll get on with all that and clean this all up. So I've removed the rear brake hub, and well, it just needs a clean up really. All the splines look good. Brake shoes, loads of meat on the brake shoes. You know, to be honest, I'll just clean them up, just run a bit of wet and dry, just to give them a bit of, you know, just clean them up. So this is the lever, which I've managed to free it off. It's a clever little system. So basically this lever is still stiff. You move it backwards and forwards like that. Obviously the brake, the rear brake plate doesn't move, because that sits on a like a spigot on the frame, so that wouldn't normally move. So you loosen off those bolts and you move this lever. Now it's all gummed up, and I think I'll take it all apart and clean it. But you can see inside there's a, I guess you'd call it elliptical, or like a snail cam here kind of thing. And that allows the lever to work backwards and forwards, and to give the chain some tension or slackness, whatever you prefer. I think it's really clever. I think for the ears it's just a nice little simple design. So I'm going to clean all this up. Here's the sprocket off the bike. Really simple. If you need to change the sprocket, I mean, just take the back wheel off. It's very clever. And you know, really robustly made, the stuff. What I like about the stuff, it's just well made. Yeah, I decided to take the brake shoes out. I mean, it was pretty easy. I mean, you know, they look not new, but you know, don't look like they've done much use. So I'm just going to clean them up. They've got the little ends there on the end of the shoes. And then here, the brake plate's really filthy. So again, just going to clean this all up. You can see all the mud here, just covered in mud. So I'm going to do all that. And just on the other side, you can see. So that's the cam that fits into the swinging arm there. So that's the inside of the swinging arm, and then bolted in by those 2 bolts. Very simple. And then if I put this in the vise, if possible, okay, so you can see when I turn that lever, you can see how that works with the elliptical shape. And listen, I'm terrible at mathematics, and anything to do with kind of, you know, shapes or anything like that. So sorry if I call it the wrong thing, but I believe that's a kind of, it's a cam, isn't it? But I believe it's in an elliptical shape. Anyway, I'm going to take all that off if I can get that off. Clean all the lever up, grease it all up. Bearing feels fine. I'm not going to touch that. Just clean all this up. I'll probably take the. I mean, this works okay. Normally I'll take out the bolts and then kind of lubricate it, but to be honest, I think I'm just making more work for myself. I think it's pointless. Works fine. Not at all seized. There's a little spring on the back of that as well. I decided, I think just for good practice, I took the inside here of two plain bearings for the in steel cages for the rear hub, and they were filthy. I thought I was going to leave them, and then I decided not to, so I've taken off the cap. There's a cap, there's a felt, another washer, and I've cleaned them all out with petrol, and I've blown them all through, and they're absolutely, so they're fine. So I'm not going to take them out. I haven't got a press. There's a collar inside there, so that's the collar, and then on the other side there's another bearing there, which is also fine. So I've cleaned them out, I've blown them out as best I can. I'll clean them a bit more, and I'll just repack them with the grease, and that will do, because they both feel fine. No reason to replace them, but at least I feel like, you know, I've kind of done the job properly, as it were. So once I've got the components cleaned up, I'll put it back together and it will go back on the bike. Having taken the brake plate off, yeah, it's pretty dirty in there. So I'll clean that up with some brake cleaner. I'll just run some wet and dry around the inside of the hub. I mean, all it's pretty good, you know, it's not all pitted from what I can see. I'll just clean that up best as I can, and the same for the brake plate. I'll take the shoes off. I mean, there's enough meat on them. They're not down to the metal. I'll clean them up. I'll lubricate the shoes, not the shoes, you know, the pivot points. Lubricate those, just clean it up, make sure it all works okay, clean it up, then put it all back together. The other pivot point, it's not seized, but it doesn't really move freely, you can see, so that will all be filthy and corroded. So I'll unbolt it here, take the nut off, pull the arm off, clean it all up, put some copper step on the inside so it moves properly. It does move, but yeah, it's not brilliant. Clean up the brake shoes, clean up the springs, cleaned up all the pivot points, and that all works perfectly. I scuffed up the surface of the brake shoes with some, I think, kind of 80 grit. Just take the glaze off them. Anyway, I'll put that back in as is, and I'm sure that'll break fine. I also cleaned up the inside of the hub as best I can with some wet and dry, just got all the rust off, corrosion. With some brake fluid, got rid of the mud. There's no lip on it, so it doesn't really feel warm. No reason it should be. So basically the brake plate can go straight back in. It actually threads down, which is pretty cool. I've been putting the rear end back together on the Galesso, and just before I put the rear sprocket on, which sits here, I thought I might just show you the, well, I think it's a clever little system for adjusting the chain. To adjust the chain, you basically push the lever up and down, and you can see that the what do you call it, you know, the central part of the hub where the sprocket sits goes backwards and forwards with the movement of the cam to give the chain adjustment. I think it's a really clever idea. Maybe nothing amazing, but I like the way it works, and all cleaned up and greased up. It works nicely. So now I'm going to put the rear sprocket on, which is here. Big heavy old sprocket. The teeth on it are okay for now. That goes on there. So I'm going to grease up the splines, put the sprocket back on, put the chain back on, put the rear wheel back on, go from there. Again, I just wanted to point out another example of you know, how well thought out these Galessos were for people who weren't motorcyclists. That's a reason, you know, that's one of the points of them, was that they were kind of like motorcycles for people who didn't ride motorcycles. And you know, they were trying to get in on the kind of scooter boom, I suppose. But just to show that, say if you were, I don't know, out in the countryside and you got a flat tyre and you weren't really much of a mechanic, and you wanted to swap the spare wheel, which is normally kept on here, it's just so easy to take the front wheel off. Bolt there, same the other side, and the wheel just drops out. Really simple. Yeah, obviously you'd have to, I've got it jacked up, but you'd have to hold it up somehow, put it on a rock or something. But no, they really were designed for people, you know, to go to work on, and just kind of just cheap transport really. And they tried to make them as, you know, user friendly for maintenance and so on as they could. I'm taking this wheel off, going to replace the ancient Pirelli. You can see Pirelli here. Excuse me, but it's you know, it's knackered, and it's a shame, you know, not to have Pirelli tyres on an Italian bike, but long gone are the days that you can buy Pirelli tyres for stuff like this. That's interesting. There's the tyre code. Look, the date code. '85 is, no, they've got to be older than '85. Anyway, plan is take this wheel off. I've got to take the old tyre off that. I'm going to put the least worst old tyre on the spare. The spare wheel is not the best. It's got a bit of a ding in the rim, but I'm not going to start restoring it or straightening it or anything else. I've repaired the spokes on it. It's just a spare. Then I'm going to fit this brand new tyre and the new rim tape and the new tube to this wheel, which will be the front wheel. Now also I'm hoping that when I get this tyre off it, that this wheel is going to be okay. But it looks okay, and at least it looks straight. So at least it'll be, you know, rideable. Then somebody wants to restore it or something in the future, they can sort all that out. The wheel runs perfectly. Bearings feel fine. And it brakes pretty well as well. But I'll just clean up around here, take this nut off. I'll just open up the plate and just have a quick look. I'm not going to start getting new brake pads, brake shoes or anything else. I'll just clean up what's in there, put it back together. You know, it's a Galesso, it's not a race bike. Kind of does what it's meant to do at the moment.